Alright, YouTubes, welcome back to the channel. It's been a hot minute since I made a video, so I decided it's time to fire up the camera again. I believe in my last video, my plans were to work on this over the winter and have it drivable by spring. Well, next weekend is 4th of July, so I guess you can say I'm a wee bit behind schedule. I was sick like 2 or 3 times this winter, and I never really got out here. And I was feeling okay. It was so dang cold, so I never really got around to it. Then when spring came around, I got the bug up my butt. If I'm going to be working out here trying to put this truck back together, I need to kind of reorganize the shop so I'm not tripping over so damn much stuff. So I started kind of tearing everything apart and reorganizing. I started by tearing this metal shelf in two, putting that up there to stack parts on. These 4 units used to be 2 tall 96-inch shelving units that I used to have back here in the corner. Well, I needed some place to stick all these doors, so I decided to cut those in 2, so I have 4 shelving units, and I stuck them up there, which was not fun to do. I had to call my old man over there today to help me put those up there. And now I'm in mode of putting everything up there, but I'm taking a little break right now because it's hot here in Wisconsin right now. What I'm trying to accomplish by doing this reorganization is I'm trying to get all this big stuff that's sitting out and everywhere, tractor implements. I'm trying to get it all pushed out towards the wall, so I have the middle of the shop to actually work with. And I would like to turn this truck so it's in parallel with this truck, so I'm not always walking around it all the time. If I had 2 lanes, 1 lane on that side of the trucks and 1 lane on this side of the trucks, I would greatly increase my efficiency of walking around, trying to get around. Some of this shit will disappear as soon as I can get to other parts of the shop. This unit is gonna be turned and stuck right here, so I have room to maybe put all my transmissions on this wall. And then I'll still have, right now this is where I kind of stick a lot of my different tractor implements on. It's kind of got junk piled in it right now. And while I'm kind of going through and doing this reorganizing of the shop, I'm kind of trying to organize all my parts. If you've been following my channel for long, you know that the last couple of years I parted out a Ram Charger for this bad boy, and I parted out a long box pickup for that truck. So I've acquired a lot of extra parts. Some of them, the parts I know I don't need, I've been trying to sell off. But there's a lot of parts I don't know what I want to keep yet. Like, I have these 2 pair of doors from my original Ram Charger that I parted out. These doors came from that long bed pickup that I parted out. And of course, this truck had its own doors. That truck has its own doors. Now, all these 4 pairs of doors is what I would call Wisconsin nice. None of them are perfect, but they're all reasonably solid and can be worked. But they're all kind of messed up in different ways, and I haven't really decided which is the best ones I want to keep yet. So for right now, I have the doors on that came with that truck, and I have the doors on here that came with this truck. But at some point they may get swapped out, or they may not. I don't know. Like, you know, like just look at this truck. You can tell that it's bent out down there in the thing. We got a little bit of, I think, rot or something maybe going on there. I don't know. So some stuff I just don't want to get rid of just yet. I want to make sure, but I'm not to that point yet to make that call. And as far as getting working on the truck, right now I'm waiting on body mounts to come in. I thought I had body mounts that came with this truck, and I kind of do, but I think the dude was trying to make his own out of these weird plastic things. I thought they were some sort of crazy polyurethane bushings he has, but the closer I'm looking at them, they're not polyurethane. I think they're some sort of hard plastic. And I finally realized, well, that he was cutting them and trying to fit them in there, and he wasn't cutting them square, and I don't know what he was doing. So I'm pretty sure all those pieces that he had for me are junk. So I went out and bought a pair of bushings that should actually go on here. And from that point on, we can kind of work from there. That's kind of the first thing I want to do is get this truck bolted down to its chassis so it's just not sitting on there anymore. Then we can start putting it all back together. So I like to get this reasonably put back together, so if anything, I can at least drive it around the yard, move it in and out of the shop easy enough till I get some of the other bigger projects on it that I want to get done before I make it a driver. So one of the reasons why I have so many transmissions laying around here is I know the transmission in this, there's something funky going on. I know there was water that had gotten in it, and I forgot to take care of it before I was driving it around. So it got, so I'm sure it got ran and it got all in the places in the transmission that it shouldn't be. So I do plan on rebuilding that at some point, but I just don't have time to do it now. So last fall when I was at the junkyard, I was picking up a 360 that I could skim some parts off because I needed like the oil pan and the engine mounts to put my the 360 I have from my old Dart into here. While I was there, I was just kind of asking the guy if he had any other parts for a first gen Ram or that I may be interested in. He said he had this transmission out of a 78 4x4. And I don't remember, he may or may not have pointed out that I had to change this tail shaft because this is not, the 70s tail shafts are way different than the 80s. I'm almost positive he told me about that. And I didn't think that was no big deal of a thing to do. I was like, we just got to drop that off of the one that's in there, pop it on there, we can slap that transmission and go down the road. But a buddy of mine was over here and pointed out to me, that's not how it works. That tail shaft is actually attached on the inside of the transmission, so I basically have to tear that whole transmission apart to change that tail shaft. Which sucks, because if I'm going to tear a transmission apart, I might as well tear apart the one that goes to the truck and get her done with. So I've had this up for sale, but apparently there's no 70s guys out there that need a transmission. Every single person has been wanting to put this in some sort of first gen. And I point that out to them, like, hey, I couldn't put that in my first gen because of the tail shaft, and I didn't want to tear it apart and put the right shaft on there. So I've had about, I want to say 6 or 7 guys looking for a transmission for a 4-wheel drive first gen, and none of them wanted to go about tearing that apart and doing it either. So as of right now, it's still up for sale. I haven't been able to sell it, and I want to say I've had like another about 4 or 5 guys that were interested in it, willing to do the work, but they wanted paperwork for the transmission because supposedly that transmission was rebuilt not too long ago, which I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical about how dirty it is, but maybe it is, maybe it isn't. And I did kind of mention that it's possible that was had been at least gone through, because I would believe that more than it was rebuilt. And of course, everybody wants paperwork. Like, it's a $300 transmission. You're not going to get paperwork with a $300 transmission. You're going to get paperwork when you pay $1,000 for a brand spanking new one. But whatever. So in the meantime, another buddy of mine, a guy that I've traded parts with back and forth over the years, actually the guy who I got this truck from, he noticed I was selling that and was wondering why I was selling it. I was told him the story. He's like, oh, if you're looking for a first-gen transmission, I got this for you. I'm like, oh. So I bought this from him. And I trust what he says because he says he went through this and kind of tuned it up a little, or not tune it up, but he went through it and made sure everything was all right. So he also had this, but he didn't have time to put it all back together, which is okay. There's some things I kind of would want to change out, make new while we're in here. But that can be done at a different time because at least with this, I can just drop the transfer case off of that, slap it on here, and we're ready to go down the road. So that's pretty much what I've been up to here. And now that I've kind of got all of my other projects kind of taken care of, and I'm finally getting to the point where I can work on this, I want to try to getting to the point where I'm posting more often, maybe once or every other week, maybe every other week, because sometimes I might not get a lot done in a week. All right, guys. With that said, I'll talk to you guys later.